All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So there was an article written on the New York Jets website here. Of course, I'll leave it linked down below in the description box. But anyway, Jordan Whitehead sat down and had a couple of quotes, a couple of cool quotes, comparing the 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, his former team, Super Bowl champions with Tom Brady in his first season, to this season's New York Jets team. And look, obviously we haven't played a single game. We haven't seen them line up for a single down yet. But he talked about some of the similarities, especially early on from camp, comparing the season prior, 2019, that 7-9 season with the Buccaneers, where they were good. They had some great wins, but they had some disappointing losses. There was some inconsistent quarterback play, a lot of turnovers, but the Buccaneers had a lot of weapons offensively. They had some talent on defense. They felt as an organization like they were right there. They were right on the cusp of not only just making the playoffs, but going on a pretty far run, going on a deep playoff run. But they were just that one piece away. If they could figure out the quarterback position, then, they had a chance for a Super Bowl. And that's exactly what happened with Tom. And obviously with the New York Jets last season, 2022, a lot of the same. Studs on defense. We now have weapons on offense. 7-9. Some really awesome wins, in Green Bay, in Pittsburgh, against Buffalo. Pretty disappointing losses. To lose 6 straight to end the season was an absolute disgrace. I still cannot believe that the Jets lost 6 straight games. Like that Thursday night game against Jacksonville, it was horrible. Lions end of the season, like there were just some games where the Jets just looked completely clueless to end the year. But the point is, both teams were in similar positions, and the Bucs made it happen by going out and signing Tom Brady, and the New York Jets went out and made it happen by trading for Aaron Rodgers, although it was kind of like a free agency signing, right? If we just take away the draft or the trade compensation, Aaron Rodgers isn't just a pawn in this. He wanted to go to the New York Jets. So I do think that's relevant to bring up here. It's not like he's being forced there against his will or anything like that. But no, in any case, I actually remember doing a video on this just a couple weeks ago with my buddy James, Mr. Bucks Nation on YouTube. I'll leave that also linked down below in the description box, where he talked about the similarities between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, just the impact that Brady had on that Buccaneers team. And, I remember, because I live in Tampa Bay, I remember, and that I'm not trying to hype it up or blow it out of proportion, but this is literally how I felt. After the Tom Brady acquisition, it seriously felt like the culture, the identity, the vision for the Bucs changed overnight. Yes, they had a lot of expectations. Yes, nobody really saw it coming. I personally thought Brady was going to stay in New England. There was retirement talk. I mean, he goes out and signed. I remember working, and I looked down at my phone, seeing that Tom Brady was signed with the Buccaneers. I was stunned, and that was probably a lot of the same reactions that a lot of fans not of the Jets had when they saw this Aaron Rodgers trade. Not necessarily when it went down, but more so with the Pat McAfee show. Like, Aaron Rodgers is actually going to be traded to the New York Jets. He wants to be a New York Jet, right? A long-time future first ballot Hall of Famer will be changing teams here. Absolutely crazy. And of course, we can point out, Peyton Manning going from the Colts to the Broncos, Matt Stafford going from the Lions to the Rams, and there's some other examples. But to me, the Jets and Aaron Rodgers compares the most to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. I think really for me, there's 2 main differences here. The first, the coaching staff. Obviously, Bruce Arians, a longtime veteran head coach, somebody who's worked with tons of great quarterbacks, Roethlisberger, the list goes on. Bruce Arians' quarterback coaching resume has been remarkable, remarkably long too. And he also had a lot of years of experience working as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Had playoff success. You look at DC, another former head coach in Todd Bowles with the New York Jets for a couple years, Byron Leftwich at OC. But overall, that staff, right, the big dogs on the Buccaneers staff had years and years and years of combined veteran experience. Whereas the Jets don't really have that. Salah's entering year 3. Jeff Ulbricht's never been a head coach before. Nathaniel Hackett got fired not even 1 year in to his only head coaching opportunity. So there is that major discrepancy there. Obviously, with Bruce Arians, you feel a lot more comfortable about offensive football, what he can do for an offense, and just his track record of working with great quarterbacks. And the second major difference here, and unfortunately the Jets kind of have the shorter end of the stick, but it's competition level. It's obviously noticeable here. I mean, you look at that NFC South division back in 2020, Carolina was a mess under Matt Rule. Atlanta just had no identity. There was a good stretch there where Atlanta was just stifled, right? They were just stagnant. What's going on with the Atlanta Falcons? But I think back in 2020 they had 4 wins on the season. I mean, look at the rest of the conference: Lions, Washington, Dallas, San Fran, New York Giants. Like, there was a lot of teams that just weren't really all that great. It's not to take away from the Green Bay Packers, the New Orleans Saints, and obviously the Buccaneers, but the AFC has just been the better conference. I mean, we look at that easy division back in 2020. We look at that easy conference to kind of get through compared to what we're seeing in the AFC right now, where it's like, let's just quickly go through all the teams. AFC North, let's start up at the top. I could see all 4 of those teams making the playoffs. I think Cleveland is the one outlier, but I got to be honest, if they make the 3rd wild card, my mind isn't going to be blown thinking to myself like, oh my God, how are the Browns winning these football games? They have no talent whatsoever. So I think all 4 teams in the AFC North have a chance of getting to the playoffs. I think AFC South, there's one team in the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not a believer right now in the other 3. As far as the season is concerned, we look at the AFC East. All 4 teams, in my opinion, should be in play at the end of the season. I don't see a single team in that division having a disappointing 4, 5, 6 win season. I know a lot of people are out on New England, but for me, I look at some of their offseason moves. I do feel like they're going to be in the mix. I'm not just going to write them off. And then the AFC West, Chargers, Chiefs. You got Denver and Vegas. I mean, Vegas, I don't think is going to be a playoff team, but I will say this in McDaniel's defense, in Vegas's defense here, they lost a bunch of close games last season. They lost a lot of games where it was just like a stupid play call or a stupid penalty, or they lost by 1 possession here, or they couldn't hold the opposing offense on a 2-minute drive. They lost so many games like that. You look at, obviously they were busy in free agency, Epps at safety, Jacoby Myers, Mayer in the second round, Tyree Wilson in the first round. I do feel like the Raiders will be better than what they showed last season. Obviously making the switch at quarterback, Derek Carr going to the New Orleans Saints, and Jimmy Garoppolo coming in. I think worst case scenario, they're the same team that they were last season. And then the Denver Broncos, and this is a Broncos team that added Sean Payton, and they finally have some direction from the top, right, from the head coaching position. So I think the competition level needs to be brought up. And by no means am I discrediting the Buccaneers Super Bowl run, not in the slightest. I'm just saying it's a lot easier to make it to the playoffs when you're in a division with 2 kind of dysfunctional teams at the time, as well as a lot of teams disappointing. Again, the Eagles, the Niners, the Lions, the Cowboys, the Giants, Commanders. Like, that's 6 teams right there that just, I believe, finish under 500 and just weren't really a threat. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Again, Jordan Whitehead, a lot of similarities here. I'll throw some quotes up on the screen. I agree with Jordan. I really do. I think the veteran experience from the quarterback position is absolutely massive, especially, I mean, think about it. Like, if you were a young wide receiver, if you were, Joe Tippmann coming in at center, and Aaron Rodgers is giving you tips, or I think, in the Bucks perspective, if you're Chris Godwin, if you're Mike Evans, and Tom Brady comes in and is telling you, hey, do this to be successful, or maybe implement some of these tips, you're going to take that and run with it. You're not going to blow it off. You're not going to say man, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's about to be out of the league. Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.